Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Thank you for your understanding of my very flexible start time. ah, um, so this is the third in the set of three healings. May 2023 triplet set of three healings. Today's Tuesday, the 9th of May. Yeah, the 9th of May 2023. May is here, ready or not. Oh, yay, I get a confirmation. Thank you so much. That really does help me. Otherwise, sometimes it's not working and I'm just talking to my laptop. So it's good to make sure. Hey, Janet, we can see and hear you in Chicago. Sunny and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, thank you for the weather report as well as the confirmation. You can see and hear you partly cloudy San Francisco, 57 Fahrenheit. We are sunny, as you can see by the blinding, blinding outdoor light reflected by my television. We're probably in Olympia, Washington, which is in the Pacific Northwest of the US. It's probably mid 50s now. We're going to get up to 90 this week, which I'm not actually in favor of. That's going to be a bit much for all my little seedlings, but we'll see how that goes. I'll do my best to protect them. I'm seeing here you from Lakewood, Colorado, 66 and sunny. Lots of emojis, thank you. Hi from Chi-Town. Now it's Chicago. Hey Janet, I can see and hear you from Las Vegas, Nevada, 78 and sunny. Yeah, so we're sunny and like 55 right now. At least we're not getting any frosts. Last year in May 2022, we got like below freezing temperatures at night, which is crazy. And it really messed up gardening plans. Killed a whole bunch of basil seedlings that I had. Rut. Okay, cool. So I can preview what we're doing today. Oh, I'm coming in from Canada. Hey, fellow Americans. Well, hello. Hello in Canada. Hello. From our same neighbor, Canada. All right. Today is going to be fabulous, healing-wise. Hopefully otherwise as well. We're going to repeat the best things that we did in the second healing 2 days ago and add two things that kind of build on where we're heading, and they were directly inspired by people's survey results. So again, thank you for filling out post-healing surveys. If you're one of the people that pays for the healing, you know, because you bought it 2 months ago, then I email you a survey link for, you know, after each healing, and you fill it out the next day. And I really appreciate the feedback. You know, it can be brief and you don't have to feel amazing. You can just say how you feel honestly. That's preferable. I mean, you can say at the bottom, you're fabulous, Janet. You know, if you feel the need to, you know, validate me, but you don't have to validate me by not saying that you feel like shit if you feel like crap. Not many people did feel like crap, but it was very instructive. The people that did feel like crap, there was probably only 2 people, but anyway, it very much helped me learn, and really helps everybody because it partially inspired some stuff. So what we're going to repeat is first chakra and Kundalini chakra. First chakra at the base of the spine helps with courage, safety, and abundance. And the chakra right beneath it is the Kundalini chakra. That chakra, the Kundalini chakra, is only present in the physical body. Whereas first chakra, all those 1 through 7 chakras, you have 2 sets, physical body and astral body. So you have 2 first chakras. and we unblocked both of them, but then we worked on also unblocking and repairing the Kundalini chakra, which can help people just be able to regulate it better on their own, so that you sleep better, stuff like that. So we're gonna do that again. We're gonna repeat, and we may keep repeating, depending on, what I'm seeing in feedback, survey results and stuff. But the body unblocking, like on Friday, 4 days ago, we just did skeletal system unblocking. So we unblocked all the bones in the body, so you have good upward downward flow and down your shoulders and arms and up and down your body. But then Sunday we modified that to do all body systems, so everything, all physical body stuff. So bones, tissues, muscles, nervous system, organs, and just unblocked it enough so that you have enough natural downward and upward flow if that's needed from your body. So I think that is a biggie for helping people be more comfortable and present and functional in life, which is the whole point. So we do that again. Someone mentioned that their neck, like I think one side of their neck, and they specifically mentioned which side of their neck, which I'm so grateful for in the survey, because if you say, oh, my toe hurts, I'm instantly going to want to look at it, because that's fun. And so if you tell me which toe, then it's like so much easier. And then I know definitely I'm looking at the thing you're talking about. So, if you say lower back, but it's the right side of my lower back, or if you say, oh, it's my left side of the back of my neck, it's like, that's perfect. I love looking at that stuff. But anyway, so sometimes when your body flow is interrupted like that, you have hard energy objects in the way. So that's what I noticed with one person who still had a little bit of neck issue, even after the body unblocking. They had some hard objects wedged in there. So if you lift out the hard objects and then redo the flow thing. So maybe I'll incorporate some lifting out of hard objects when we do that body unblocking. So I'll make a note of that. We're going to also repeat clearing trauma energy. I listed a lot of examples of how clearing trauma blocks, energy blocks from, good days don't often block you up, right? But bad days can block you up. Like extreme bad days or extreme bad negative experiences from a long time ago, from now, from a past life, you tend to get blocked up. It's nice to meditate afterwards, of course, and unblock, so then there's no lasting problem from that negative experience. But most people don't do that. So anyway, there's a lot of leftover trauma blocks, is what we're calling them. So what I'm calling them. So anyway, it's really great to clear them. They can have such wide-ranging effects. So I listed a bunch of the effects, and someone in their survey mentioned that helped them kind of have ideas, like it didn't occur to them that trauma blocks could be affecting this and affecting this and affecting this and affecting this, which, they can. And that's why it's fun to clear them. It's not fun to get the trauma, but then it is definitely fun to clear them, because then it's like this adventure to see what's going to improve in your life. And you can specifically hone in on a certain area of your life, like if you're always late and that's a problem. Some of that could just be your personality, but some of it could be trauma blocks. So it's always worth, just in case trauma blocks are with some personal trait you're trying to change, or some, anything like that, any personal improvement stuff. So some extra examples that I didn't mention yesterday, like help with sexuality, like meaning like how much sexual enjoyment you have. That is very workable through clearing trauma blocks often. It could be past life trauma blocks, so from stuff you don't even remember. But you can just focus and, okay, I'm going to clear trauma blocks for whatever's in the way of my sexual enjoyment, and sensual enjoyment, like enjoying flavors, textures, beauty in the world, emotional stability. That's all second chakra stuff. Emotional stability, sexuality, sensuality. So, but you can, target that over time. Keep clearing more and more. Clearing trauma energy can help with mood. It can help with your ability to focus. It can help with stress management. And speaking of stress management, one of the there are going to be two bigger new things that we're doing today. And I can preview them both. Yesterday's new, 2 days ago, the new stuff, I didn't want to preview all of it. I just did it in the healing. I didn't want to say it in the intro because sometimes that's too triggering. But these are not triggering to talk about, I don't think. Not triggering to hear about. So anyway, as for stress management, I was looking at this image of that you can have a pot that fills up, and when your pot fills up, then it spills over, potentially, if you put more in the pot, right? So let's see, I work, I'm right on the other side of our stove. We have some pots on our stove, so. So say this was one of your stress pots. Say you have a bunch of them, but this is one of them, and it's already like mostly full with stress, unprocessed energy blocks, which we'll call stress, right? So unprocessed stress, right? So this is an unprocessed stress pot that you have. And the way I imagine, they usually don't have handles like that, but maybe they have like two handles, one on each side. That doesn't happen. So your unprocessed stress pot, you have a bunch of them, right? But say most of them are like 80% full. So then if you have a bad day, they all overflow and you're like, whoa, I can't handle it, And so what we're going to do is ground your stress pots and help them to release and empty to the extent that's healthy and gentle to do at one time, of course. We don't want to add stress to you. We want to reduce stress, right? But then if your stress pots are empty or mostly empty, then you can handle, a bad day or an overwhelming experience, and you don't have to process it all right in that moment. Your stress pot has a little room. So then you can, next time you meditate or when you're asleep at night, you can process some or whatever. You can take a nap and process some, but it doesn't like overflow and you're still functional, right? So we're gonna help you to ground and empty out your stress pots. In a healthy and gentle paced way, of course. So that's your unprocessed stress pots. All right, and then there's this other really cool thing I was looking at that, like the theme is momentum and inspiration. Enthusiasm and inspiration, but that's similar to momentum in a way. So, and thank you, like I said, for honest surveys. Like 'cause some people are like, honestly, I'm not feeling very inspired right now, or I'm not feeling very, enthusiastic, but they say other things that they are feeling, or whatever. And I was looking at this really interesting thing where sometimes you feel enthusiasm and inspiration, and so you're like, and you do this, and you do that, and you do this, and you do that, and like you just have a sense of like a really clear sense of like what you need to do right now, and you want to do it, and you're like, I'm doing it. And then you get a sense of something else you want to do right now. And you get this clarity on it, and you're like, I'm going to do it. And you do it. So it's like these little baby stepping stones. And you're like, yeah. Okay, whoo, right? But there are other times where the opposite happens, and you kind of have a brain freeze. And it's frustrating, potentially, or you just don't want to deal, so you watch like Netflix for 8 hours. Hopefully not 8 hours. But you know what I mean? Like you just like want to turn off the world for a little bit. It's like this brain freeze, or like you're right up against this big wall of like ice that just like freezes all your thoughts and logic. And you're like, I don't know what to do. Like sometimes you might think like, well, there's too much to do. Like I have so many things to do. There's no good place to start, And so you don't do anything because you're like, I have so much to do. So I'm calling that a brain freeze. And so I was looking at, okay, well, what the heck is that? How do we get people from brain freeze to like that stepping stone momentum of enthusiasm, inspiration, taking action, you know, blah, 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 right? How do we get out of the brain freeze? And I finally, it was like, I had a brain freeze about it at first. But, because I kind of went in and out of that state yesterday. I had inspiration, you know, after the healing live stream. I had inspiration and I took action. I had clarity, and then, but then I had once I did all that, I had a brain freeze about like, okay, am I done? What do I do? Let me just sit down. But I did sit down to meditate, you know, which of course helps. And, you know, and then I slowly got more like baby step momentum, and I did something else too, which was totally exciting to get out of the brain freeze, you know, and into momentum and action again. So anyway, what is that? So, long story short, what is it? You can have energy blocks that are too big and they're not clearing just in sort of an organic way, like subconsciously, or, you know, as part of like your natural flow and grounding and releasing. You know, sometimes, you know, you can be on a roll and you're clearing all these energy blocks as you're, you know, making breakfast or cleaning up or, you know, doing something or dancing to your favorite song or whatever. You know, you just like things clear and things release, you know. But sometimes it's like, I don't have a good physical aid for it. But it's like you have like 7 energy blocks that are glued together by a different energy. And that could be someone's cording them, and so it's their energy gluing them together, or it could be just your resistance that's gluing them together, or yeah, those are probably the 2 most popular reasons why, common reasons why. But anyway, it's like a bunch of energy blocks that you could automatically clear if they weren't all glued together. And then it's like it causes a brain freeze. You're like, oh, you know. And some people, like, I remember at least one person who was very irritable yesterday. That was happening with her. Like, she just, the energy blocks that she wanted to clear were like these, you know, glued together giant ones, and they weren't clearing, and she was really frustrated. You know, it's like banging your head against the wall and trying to clear these giant things that aren't clearing. And I don't know that she actually sat down and meditated, because then that maybe would have cleared them anyway, because she could have unblocked her grounding. And because sometimes you get so resistant, then your grounding blocks, and then half your chakras block, and then you're kind of like, you know, it's like one hand tied behind your back. You're just like, ah, you know. So maybe, you know, she got caught up in the feeling of it and didn't sit down and meditate and you know, address it. But I think that if we do it this way, we're going to melt blocks that are too big, basically. We're going to take these blocks that are just bigger ones that aren't clearing, and we'll just keep finding more and keep melting them. Because all you have to do is melt the glue that's sticking them all together, and then and just a little extra gold light maybe after that, just they all blow up. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna go hunting for your 2 big energy blocks and just put them out in front of you and melt the glue, and so they go and they all explode, and we'll keep doing that. And we won't do them all at once, because the whole idea is sometimes too much is too much, you know. So we'll do, you know, you can do maybe like 3 2 big energy blocks at once. That's okay, but don't try to do all your 2 big energy blocks all in the same second. Yeah. But anyway, so that's today. Should be fabulous. And we have been, in case you've been sort of spacing on like this healing summaries and not reading them and not listening to these videos, these, you know, the live streams, because they're so long or whatever. The 4 essentials that we do in the first half hour of the healing, we have been adding some pretty effective extras that are newish, you know. Some are traditional Chinese medicine inspired, and I guess most of them are, but those have been helping too, I think. So we're gonna keep all those, I think, permanently. all the ones that we did 2 days ago. So we will. I'm going to write them out just for myself so that I don't forget them. Like with aura repair, we also repair the gold mesh spheres within the Wei Qi auras now. Because the Wei Qi auras are 15 out of those 17 auras, and then they each have a set of 3 gold mesh spheres in them that generate gold light and help you with strong boundaries. So we're going to repair those gold mesh spheres. Creative rings, we do an enhanced version where you make sure you get rid of the crud within the ring, so then the gold light goes in the middle as well as downward to all your chakras, which then helps get a nice gold force field here, which does protect to some extent your upper, all this stuff in the top of your head in case, you know, beings or people are throwing energy down at you. So that's the enhanced version of Creative Ring Repair. And then with chakra repair, that's where the most cool new extras are. Of course, repairing and unblocking all major and minor chakras, but then we'll do first points, which are 26 of the minor chakras, which are the first chakra in a meridian. Because a lot of times the energy flows from one meridian to the next, to the next, to the next. And for some reason, like, the blocks tend to collect and accumulate at the start. I mean, they can accumulate anywhere along the meridian, but it seems like a really significant common place for them to block up is right before that first energy center of the meridian. So we specifically do extra repair and unblocking of just the first points, the first acupuncture point or minor chakra in a meridian. So we'll do that. First points, I call it. Also, worst chakras. Repair and unblock just the worst chakras. Because sometimes if you just pick out the ones that are the most in need of repair, the most blocked, among minor and major chakras, do those all at once, that it helps get the ones that are a little more stubborn, that still are not repaired or unblocked enough. And then also, before that, probably within chakra repair, we'll clear rad blocks, which I think is also a keeper too. RAD is an acronym I've just started using recently. Stands for I forget. That's what it stands for. Repression, avoidance, and denial. I want to say resistance. Goddamn. Excuse my French. Resistance, avoidance, and denial. So those are like 3 underlying things that, you know, really can slow growth and personal change and all that. So we'll clear red blocks. It's a nice way to accelerate growth. Okay, so that's the 4 essentials. And then directly after the 4 essentials, the body unblocking that I talked about. That's new, and I think that might just be a forever thing that we keep doing. And then removing hard objects, just as part of that, to, in case there's any in the way of your upward and downward natural flow of your physical body, and down your shoulder and your arm and all the way back up. Okay. So now I won't forget any of it. All right. So I got more hellos. Hello from DC. Hello to you. I have the brain freeze a lot. Excited to work on this. Yes. Hi, Janet. And you know, it's like, I don't know, it just seems logical to be so overwhelmed that you don't do anything. I mean, it's not, but it is, you know, because you're like, well, but I have so much to do. You know, it's paralyzing me. But it's nice that there is like a literal concrete energy version of that that is so workable. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that helps people as much as it looks like it will. We'll see. So your surveys will be appreciated. And plus you can work on it on your own, you know, because it'll be a very approachable technique, that melting the too big blocks, blocks that are too big to auto clear. Hi Janet, tangled energy blocks sound so much like me. Yeah, the two big ones that are all interconnected. All right. Cool, I'm excited. Yeah, at first I thought it was about just like, because a lot of the first people that I read with this situation, they had fourth layer energy blocks in the front of their fourth layer that were just really big that they weren't clearing. So I just thought, well, okay, I'm meant to just unblock the fourth layer a lot extra. But then I would see, oh no, but they have it in their fifth layer. They have it in their first layer. They have it in their second layer. So then I just realized it's about blocks that are just too big that aren't clearing on their own. So giant energy blocks. Da, da, da. I tend to hunt for those, but obviously not enough. But I kind of like, you know, getting the big ones. I have lists of the names of everyone that I'm healing. I like to look at as I work, in case I need to read somebody. Oh, the July, I think, is it July? May, June, July, yeah. The July healings sets are going to go on sale for those of you that don't have, you know, just a subscription where you auto pay and they're guaranteed for you. For the people that buy manually, the purchase date is coming up on the 15th. It's the same every month, the 15th, and that's when the July healings go up. So you can look at the themes on my website, and what time they go up is listed on my website, janetwrightreadings.com. All right. I have all this stuff here on the counter for like planting seeds and potting things up, because that's what I'm doing in my personal life. So it's a full counter for a full life. Alrighty, so now we will have the quiet time, like 3 minutes-ish, where I finish my prep. I say hi telepathically, which is non-verbally, to the 130 people that I'm healing. I will be healing. And then towards the end of that 3 minutes of quiet, I'll start the healing in silence. And if you see me go like that, you know I've started the healing. And then I'll start talking out loud after the 3 minutes of quiet, and the rest of it's a healing walkthrough where I'm telling you what I'm doing as I do it, and you could follow along if you want, and heal yourself as you listen. And it is all levels, so you could just go for it, even if you think you're not good at this stuff. All right, so now I'll be quiet for a couple minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hope you enjoy it too. All right, thank you for waiting. So when you heal yourself, if you want, you can use a copy out in front of you to heal yourself. I feel like that's a really good way to do it. So you would make the copy with your intention or your thought. You don't have to see energy to do it. And the copy could be just one thing, like your little toe that you're healing, or it could be everything all at once. So if it's everything, that would be your 17 auras, your physical body, astral body, and then the 15 Wei Qi auras. Physical body and physical body aura, astral body and astral body aura, and then the 15 Wei Qi auras. So a whole bunch of auras all in the same place, 17 auras. And then your physical body and your astral body are inside there. And then your groundings, you have 2 of them that connect you to the core of the earth and help you to release energy, help you to receive earth energy as well. So let's do grounding. Grounding is one of the 4 essentials. Which we do at the start, first roughly half hour of every healing, grounding, aura repair, chakra repair, creative ring repair. So anyway, grounding, you can recreate both your groundings, astral body and physical body grounding. Make them nice and wide as all your auras. So that's roughly out to the heel of the palm of your hand if you were to stretch out your arms. Make your groundings, whatever color helps you release the most, within red or orange or yellow. And bring those groundings up high as your 3rd chakra, which is where your sternum bone ends. Right there, that's your 3rd chakra. So bring your grounding up high like that. And then you can make a copy out in front of you of both your groundings. They're in the same place, so they look like one grounding, but just have your intention be you're healing and unblocking both groundings at once. And if your groundings aren't wide, you can fix that, recreate them again, or just use so much gold light that they spread out and they stay wide all the way down. And wash everybody else's energy out of your grounding. A lot of times, if you have people cording into stuff in your grounding, that's why things start jamming up, traffic jamming up, and then everything blocks up. So just make sure you wash everybody out with gold light out of your grounding. Even if you have kids, this is definitely not a place for your kids. Their grounding is for them, your grounding is for you. And just keep melting the energy blocks out of your grounding. Just melt them with gold light. They might look like stacks of books or a bunch of flat rocks stuck together. Just melt them away. So if you're in a bad mood, you can check your grounding. Chances are it blocked up, especially in the back. All right, so that's grounding. So then indie grounding is where you check the outer perimeter of both of those groundings and use gold light all the way down on that outer surface just to melt away anything that's attaching to your groundings. Could be that your grounding hooked up to somebody else's or vice versa, or you have hard objects stuck in there. You can remove all the hard objects, blow them up, melt them away, hand them to your angels. Hand all the hard objects to your angels. So this is indie grounding, where you check that outer surface and you melt away any connections to other people's grounding. Indie stands for independent. Good job. So then aura repair of your 17 auras. So they're all in the same place. They're all around you, above you, below you, to either side, behind you. So you just make a copy out in front of you of all of them, and first just comb through them all, check for rips with your intuition, your imagination, your vision, whatever you got. And you can start healing them this way if you want. But we are going to use a technique called composite copy technique. So with that, you create a one rip that represents all the rips that you need to repair in your auras, and you repair that one rip. So with your intention, you have it represent all the rips that you have, and just wash it out with gold light. And to make sure you're getting it extra cleaned out, you can fill it up with sticky gold wax, which is gold light from your hands that hardens and sticks to anything that's not you. And then you just lift all that out as a lump. Angels, here you go. Fill it up with sticky gold wax. Lift out the junk as a lump. Angels, here you go. And then now you should be able to repair the rip. Lots of gold light. Oh. Okay, so that's the basics of aura repair your rips, right? But let's do it one more time faster because you could have a few leftover rips that were a little stubborn that are still ripped. So make one more composite copy and have it represent any leftover rips that you still have in your 17 auras. And do the same thing. Fill it up with sticky gold wax to clean it out, lift out the junk. Angels, here you go. Fill it up with sticky gold wax. Take out all the junk as a big lump. Angels, here you go. And lots of gold light. And then you could have aura scarring or aura bruising left over, which is hardness. And I noticed one person who was in a bad mood, I think it was, or maybe they were just tired. Anyway, one person who had some kind of negative feeling, I looked at their space and they had a lot of bruising, like in the back, one of the sides in the back, because someone had been whacking them, but actually their auras had held, so there was no rip, which is kind of cool. But they did have a bunch of bruising, so that it was like the 7, 6, 5, and 4 were bruised in the back quite a bit. So it kind of darkened up their aura in general because of that. But it could have been much worse. If it had ripped all the way through, then their chakras would have damaged, and they would have been feeling 10 times worse. But just an example of aura bruising. So anyway, put all your bruising and scarring of your auras in one pile, like copies of it, and just melt it all with gold light. And you can put another batch out, maybe you have more. So any aura scarring or aura bruising that you have, just put it out in front of you and just in piles and melt it with gold light from your hands. And I didn't mention, probably should have, gold light from your hands. What that is you have a big energy center in the palm of each hand and a big, and a smaller energy center in each fingertip. But you have 10 of them, so they do generate quite a bit of energy. And like all energy centers, they have round openings. They naturally generate energy as they spin. And so you can set your hand chakras, the one in the palm and then the fingertip chakras, to be a metallic gold color with your intention, like this glitter, and just set them to be metallic gold. And that way, the energy they're generating as they spin is that metallic gold color or vibration. And that's a nice energy to use when you're healing yourself. It's fast moving, but not too fast moving, so it helps you repair and let go and unblock, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's what we've been using, but I didn't say it. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so that is aura repair. And we also did melting away aura scarring and bruising. So now we will repair the gold mesh spheres because, like I said, 15 of those 17 auras are Wei Qi auras, which is spelled W-E-I space C-H-I. Wei Qi is a standard traditional Chinese medicine concept. It has to do with strong boundaries energy that you have. But the fact that you have 15 auras that generate that Wei Qi energy, or most of it, is not standard traditional Chinese medicine. That's just what the angels told me. So, and each of those 15 Wei Qi auras has 3 gold mesh spheres within it that follow the outline of your body. There's one that's more inner, and then there's a middle one, and there's the outermost one in your Wei Qi auras. So like if your auras are this wide, it's 1, 2, 3 roughly. And you just imagine them all, like all 15 sets of 3 each of the gold mesh spheres, and you just, look for holes, and you just melt them away with gold light. You just repair the hole, Sometimes there's a hard object stuck in there still, and so you can imagine any of the hard objects still stuck in your gold mesh spheres and just lift out those objects and give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. If you're healing yourself, you could also blow up the hard objects, just blow them up. But otherwise you can melt them with gold light. You can give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift out the hard objects. Angels, here you go. So then there's nothing in the way of you repairing all the gold mesh spheres. And again, if there are any hard objects, lift them out, give them to the angels. Angels, here you go. All right, so that was repairing the gold mesh spheres of the Wei Qi auras. So now we could just finish the repair. Just extra gold light around the outer surface of all the 17 auras and around the outer surface of both groundings. So you're not leaking energy. You want to just let those little rips repair any leftover ones that you still have. And double check your grounding, see if you need to unblock it again. Wash everybody out of your grounding. Wash everybody out of all your auras. All right, so that was aura repair. You can go ahead and recreate your gold buffer zones. I finally remember to do it at the ideal time. So gold buffer zones are literal gold buffers that you create and attach to the edge of your physical body aura and your astral body aura. So there's a set of two. And I have a whole 18-minute video that walks you through learning that, so then you can just recreate them really quickly, which will be linked below with the healing summary in the comment section. So that's gold buffer zones. Okay, so creative ring repair. Creative rings are right above the head. They come and go with you as a spirit. They're really cool. They help you feel good. They help you wake up properly, feeling competent. They generate gold light and send it down to your chakras, so they help you kind of get over yourself and just move through your day well. So they're really important. So you can make a copy out in front of you of your creative rings and use gold light and repair them and unblock them with the gold light. Melt away cords going into them from other people or from invasive beings. Just melt the cords. Whoa. You can heal the undersides of the creative rings. You can flip around your copy to do that too if you prefer. You can get scratches or just like just stuck energy around the outer surface or around the inner. That's the enhanced version, is to make sure you get the stuck stuff from around the inside of the rings out. So your creative rings do have flaps, and I'm going to show a diagram of what they look like if they are irritated and open because you have cords from people or beings going into them. So this would be if you're looking down at your top creative ring, and say there are too many cords going in, then that irritates the flaps, all that excess energy that's not yours, and so the flaps puff out. And so you don't want that. You want to melt enough cords so that the flaps fall fully shut. So your energy can go through the creative rings, but it's harder for people to cord with these flaps shut. So I just keep melting cords. And you can imagine too, like balloons with strings, and the cords are like double strings, one from each, a set of double strings from each balloon. And so if you want to see like a representation of all the invasive beings that are trying to mess with your creative rings, just see them as balloons up there. And say, angels, can you recycle all these invasive beings trying to mess with my creative rings? And then invasive people trying to mess with your creative rings, you can imagine those as balloons to the other side. And those, your angels aren't going to recycle people. So, but you can melt those balloon strings with gold light. Just don't mess with the people, but just the strings, the cords, as they are near your creative rings, just melt them away with gold light and melt the blocked energy that they're anchored into. And usually there's a really nice chain reaction. Once you get the flaps to close, then the flaps beneath them, most of them close too, including the flaps around the round openings of your major chakras. So like if this is a diagram of, say, the third chakra, because third chakra, yellow is a nice color for third chakra, you can ignore the fact that there's a cat food can in there. It's just to hold the shape of it. But anyway, you'd have flaps here and here around the round opening, and you want those to relax and fall shut as well, so that your energy can go through the chakra, but it's harder for people to cord because the flaps are relaxed and shut. So just relax, melt cords from your major chakras up and down your spine, as well as your creative rings. And then you can do sticky gold wax for the whole thing. And again, sticky gold wax is gold light from your hands that hardens and sticks to whatever's not you. So then you remove it as a big chunk. So sticky gold wax your creative rings, and then that space in between your rings and your 7th chakra, and all your major chakras along your spine, and your Kundalini chakra beneath your 1st chakra. You can sticky gold wax that too. And just move out all the blocks all at once. Give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. More sticky gold wax. Have it stick to any blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of right now. In your major chakras, your creative rings, and your Kundalini chakra below there. And move out all the blocks. Angels, here you go. Take a couple deep breaths so you can adjust to that. Breathe into your toes, into your whole body. All right, great job. So that's creative ring, repair and unblocking, including the enhanced version to do that. Make sure you unblock the inner part so that now you have more gold light right in the center up here. Okay, so then creative, I'm sorry, we did that. Chakra, repair and unblocking of all your major and minor chakras. So I already showed this amazing physical illustration of a chakra. It's a little too big. It's bigger than the real thing, but it's a general idea. Open cylinder. And so you create on an energy level something that looks like this, you know, a round open cylinder, and have it, with your intention, have it represent all your major and minor chakras of your body and spirit. So including all the acupuncture points, which are little chakras, including energy centers in your legs and your shoulders and your neck and everywhere. All your major chakras along your spine. It's just lots of gold light. You can lift out the energy blocks, blow them up if you're healing yourself, or hand them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift out the energy blocks. Angels, here you go. Again, melt the cords going into these chakras. Only keep the 1st chakra cord to your young child's 1st chakra if you have a young child, 13 years or younger. Only keep the 1st chakra cord. But if you don't have kids, then there should be no 1st chakra cords between you and anybody else. I mean, should, you know, just for your own wellness. Should. There's no, it's not like I'm the cord police. It's up to you. Lift out the blocks, give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift out the blocks. Angels, here you go. Lift out the blocks, melt them with gold light. Lift out the blocks, melt them with gold light. So repairing means, you know, there could be cracks, there could be holes, you know, gashes that don't belong there. There could be scratches. There could be missing pieces. Again, cracks are pretty subtle. So, you know, but if you know that they can be cracked, then you can kind of check for that. But, you know, when in doubt, just repair it. If you're not sure, oh, is it damaged? Are my chakras damaged? Just go ahead and do it. Just learn how to do it quickly so it doesn't take a lot of your time. Okay, so that's basic chakra repair and unblocking. So then rad blocks is one of the extras that we do with chakra repair. So rad blocks, that stands for resistance, avoidance, and denial. Energy blocks that are causing you to be in resistance or avoidance or denial in an unhealthy way. So just lift out your rad blocks and you can blow them up or give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Or melt them with gold light. Lift out your rad blocks, melt them with gold light. Lift out the rad blocks, melt them with gold light. Lift out the rad blocks, melt them with gold light. Lift out the rad blocks, get rid of them. Because it's like everyone wants to make progress, right? You know, so you gotta throw out enough rad blocks so that you can make your progress. So we're taking out rad blocks from your chakras, all your major and minor chakras, to the extent that's healthy and gentle. So take out the rad blocks, melt them with gold light. Take out the rad blocks, melt them with gold light. Take out the rad blocks, melt them with gold light. Okay. Enthusiasm and inspiration is the theme, so we could take out any blocks in the way of enthusiasm or inspiration from any of your chakras, any of your major or minor chakras. So any blocks messing with enthusiasm or inspiration, lift those out. You can blow them up, you can melt them with gold light, or you can hand them to the angels. Any enthusiasm and inspiration energy blocks in any of your chakras, lift them out. Angels, here you go. Lift out those blocks, angels, here you go. So any blocks blocking your enthusiasm or your inspiration, lift out those blocks. Angels, here you go. Okay, and then first points. So you have 12 primary meridians in traditional Chinese medicine. And they're cool. So your meridians, you know, they're all over your physical body, and they're really cool. 3 of them start around your eyes. 3 of them start around here. 3 of them start in your fingers. 3 of them start in your toes or your feet. So they're super cool. They help you. Traditional Chinese medicine is super cool. But anyway, so the first point or first energy center or first chakra in that meridian can get especially blocked. And then there's a lot of pressure on it as your energy tries to flow from the other meridian into that one. So we want to unblock and repair those first points and that's a nice, easy way to help all your meridians, as well as first points of 2. There are 8 extraordinary meridians that are not the 12 regular ones. And 2 of those we work with quite a bit, GV and CV meridian. So GV starts in the crotch and goes up the back, midline of the back, and hooks around and ends in the roof of the mouth. So it comes around, ends in the roof of the mouth. CV meridian also starts in the crotch, goes up the front midline, ends in the tip of the tongue. So that CV meridian goes right up. So they have first points also, and those are super cool to unblock. Sometimes you could just unblock just CV and GV first points, and it's a nice way to adjust your mood. It's really cool. But anyway, so we're going to do all those first points. There are actually 26 of them. So just because you have 12 meridians, but you have a left branch and a right branch of each of those 12, so that's 24, and then GV has 1 and CV has 1 first point, so that's 26. Just for the geeky extra people who like knowing that stuff, but you don't have to know that. So you just imagine, you know, a chakra shape, right? And have it with your intention represent all your first points of those meridians that we talked about. 12 primary meridians, and then the CV and GV. And just use lots of gold light. You can bring up red earth energy. Red and gold are good to use for things that are like pure body stuff, like meridians or first chakra, second chakra also, or physical organs, bones, physical nervous system, stuff like that. You could use red and gold. Anyway, so red and gold for these first points. Melt away cords, repair any damage, lift out energy blocks, come to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift out the blocks, melt them with gold light. Unblock, especially the beginning of the meridian, the beginning of that first point, right before it. That's where the energy tends to dam up. So just imagine that. Any blocked energy there right before that first point. Melt it away with gold light. And you want to do as much as is healthy and gentle to do right now. So that's first points. So then worst, I would say worst points, but it's also, we're doing the major chakras for worst points. It's worst, so I say worst chakras. So it's worst chakras, which includes major and minor chakras, this one. And so just in case there are ones that are like extra stubborn and they still need a little repair, or they still need more unblocking. So just make, an energy copy of a chakra out in front of you and have it with your intention represent all your worst chakras. So some worst chakras among all your chakras, major and minor. So this just represents the worst ones, the ones most in need of help, and just melt cords. You can freeze any invasive beings that are around these guys, and just angels, here you go. So like around these chakras, you can use collapsing gold nets and drag out people or beings around these worst chakras. Angels, here you go. Collapsing gold nets, angels, here you go. So this represents all your worst chakras. You want to just make sure there's no beings or people messing with them. So just collapsing gold net, big cube of gold nets, collapse it in, have the nets tangle up any beings or people. Angels, here you go. Hand them to the angels. So this is us doing worst chakras right now. Melt cords, of course. Again, collapsing gold nets, tangle up anything that's not you. Angels, here you go. All right, great. So that's worst chakras. So we did all the extras that I wanted to do there with chakra repair. So that's the 4 essentials then. We finished them. So grounding, aura repair, creative ring repair, chakra repair. So then the thing I may always do, we'll see, is after the 4 essentials is body unblocking. And that's just physical body. Your body needs to be able to have energy flow for all its, functioning. And so energy may need to flow upward or downward, or, for in the case of your arms, out or back in. So you don't want any traffic jams anywhere in that flow. And it's pretty easy to imagine the flow, just simple. But it's just imagine all the physical systems, like skeletal, nervous system, bones, muscles, organs, and just notice that flow and see where it can't go, and melt away the blocks. And some blocks will only block in one direction. So like sometimes your energy can go upward, but it can't go back down because of certain blocks. And then that can give you a very overly all over the place kind of a feel. So you want to be able to bring that energy back down. So just test both directions to find all the blocks you need to melt away. And I do have a diagram of the bones, some of the bones, which might help you, even though just a reminder that we're also doing it for all the body systems, muscles, tissues, and nervous system. But it might be nice to look at, some physical representation. So there's your spine and your skull. And at the base of your spine there, in the diagram, you see, it's hard because I see an opposite. Anyway, down here, there we go. The sacrum. right there. It's a bunch of bones that fuse together at a certain age, and there it is there in the center of that diagram, the sacrum, those fused bones at the base of your spine. And then you have your ilium bones, the bones that connect to the sacrum. And then you have the upper leg bone there, the femur, I believe, the big leg bone. And so you want to make sure that, you know, from your spine to your sacrum to your ilium bones to your hip joints to your femur, you know, leg bone there, that there's no traffic jam in either direction. Like the sacroiliac joints right there from your sacrum to those bones on either side, your ilium bones, that little you know, line that you see, there's a lot of cool nerve endings there, sacroiliac nerves. And so you can give energy healing, you know, at any of these connection points. So make sure there's no traffic jam. And then, of course, same thing. I don't have a diagram of it, but, you know, at your knees, up and down your knees. You don't want any traffic jams at your ankles. Any major joints. Just go up and down, check flow. Another common traffic jam spot is the back of the head. Those acupuncture points there can block up in the back of the head. And also, you know, in a bone level, muscles, tendons. So you just want to check all that and just imagine the flow upward and downward and melt the blocks. Just like when you unblock your grounding, you can see the blocks like rocks or books, whatever hard stuff, and just melt it away with gold light. In your shoulders, just melt those blocks away. If you have hard objects anywhere in your body that are messing with this natural flow that needs to happen, you can just sticky gold wax your whole body and have it stick to any hard objects, and then move out the junk all at once. Give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Again, sticky gold wax your entire body. Have it stick to any hard objects, anything that's messing with the flow. Move all that out all at once. Angels, here you go. All right, so that is not perfect, but it's better than it was, right? So that's body unblocking, basically. Just, you know, the up and down direction and down your arms and back up. Just want to make sure that whatever way your body needs to rebalance, that it's able to. There's no big blocks in the way of that. And you may find that it helps you to kind of like crack, you know, like later you know, you do a little stretch and it's like crack, and you're like giving yourself an adjustment in a way that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't done the body unblocking first. So it's kind of cool. Of course, when you're stretching, always be very gentle. You know the limits of your body. Don't force anything. Okay, so that's body unblocking. For the Kundalini chakra and both first chakras, let's repeat. We can do it pretty quickly this time. I call them intimidation dumps. Just because sometimes that oftentimes that's the intention of why someone would dump energy right in front of your first chakra and or your Kundalini chakra, is to make you nervous, to make you feel like you need to be subservient to them, to their ideas, to their wishes, to whatever. So that's not helpful. Right? You want your first chakra, if your first chakra, has good flow and is not blocked up like that, with dumped energy, then it can generate courage and safety and abundance for you. So that's really good. And if your Kundalini chakra is not blocked up, then it generates a nice, moderate, peppy energy that you can dial up or dial down as you need. Also, in people past puberty, that can also be a sexual energy when you wish. But at a low or moderate level, it can just be, pep for your day to get things done and enjoy your day. And Kundalini chakra, you would want to shut it off completely to go to sleep or to get back to sleep. So anyway, that's first chakra and Kundalini chakra. So now we're going to just imagine those two. They're both this shape, except red would be the ideal color. And the Kundalini chakra would be much smaller, but it's so close they touch. First chakra and Kundalini chakra at the base of your spine. So imagine them both, set them to your favorite shade of red. And then just lift out all the junk that may be like stacked up in front of them. Just lift out all that. Angels, here you go. Or you could blow it up. You could melt it with gold light. Lift it out. Melt it with gold light. Lift it all out. Angels, here you go. And it could be within the chakra as well, or behind the chakra, one of those chakras. So just imagine again your first chakra is astral and physical, and then your Kundalini chakra, and just lift out all the junk in and around. Angels, here you go. Lift out all the junk in and around. Angels, here you go. And again, could be from somebody even in a past life that wanted to kind of be dominating or intimidate you. So that's silly. We don't need that. So just imagine first chakras and your Kundalini chakra, and just lift out anything, especially in front, right in front. Angels, here you go. Anything that's not you. Lift it out. Angels, here you go. Lift it out. Angels, here you go. And just a little bit extra unblocking and healing for your repair for your Kundalini chakra and both first chakras. Melt cords, of course. All right, so that was a quick version, just 3 minutes for unblocking your Kundalini chakra and your first chakras, little repair and getting rid of dumped energy, which I call intimidation dumps, in front of and in and around those chakras. So now we'll do one of the new things that I was talking about in the intro. So unprocessed stress pots. You don't really literally have pots sitting in your energy field, but I think it's a very useful visual metaphor to easily deal with it and imagine sort of how things work with it. So I had explained it. It's like you have pots, just not just one, but in your space, and when they're just to handle, to hold unprocessed stress blocks or trauma blocks, anything that blocks you up. If you have some pots, they just go in the stress goes in the pots and it doesn't overflow. And so then, maybe you can't meditate right then and there, so you meditate later that day, or you're in your sleep at night and you clear a lot of whatever stress it was. So the level of the pot goes down again. So then you're ready for another situation with some unprocessed stress, and the pot fills up a little bit more again. So ideally you want to keep your pots pretty empty, so that you're very capable and you can handle maybe something sudden and unexpected and stressful. It might fill up your unprocessed stress pots a little bit, but it doesn't make them overflow, right? So sort of the extreme example of a non-ideal situation is when all your pots are already full. You have a whole bunch of unprocessed stress pots and they're all completely full. And so any event that happens, it's too much, and the pots just start overflowing, and then you're like, whoa, and it could be the smallest little thing because your pots are already full. Right? So we don't want that. We want to check your unprocessed stress pots, give them nice big red groundings so they drain out. We don't actually want a pot that, with a solid bottom. We want a pot that is permeable down to the core of the earth, so that it keeps emptying. So, but we're going to actually manually empty just with gold light. We'll just run gold light through them, and they drain out to the core of the earth. Okay? So, and again, the intention is you want to do what's healthy and gentle to do right now, because the idea is we want to help your stress management, not make it worse. So, but with that intention, you'll be fine. So, and you can say, angels, help me do this, in a safe and healthy way. Right? So, you just imagine whatever unprocessed stress pots that you have in your space. Maybe they're big pots with big handles, maybe they're tiny pots, whatever. Just imagine all your unprocessed stress pots, and how full are they? Right now, how full are your unprocessed stress pots? How much spare room do you have in your unprocessed stress pots? And, there's no good or bad. It just is what it is. This is not a contest. And just make big red grounding cords for all your unprocessed stress pots. And just bring up the red earth energy, soak all the unprocessed stress pots and what's in them. And then just gold light and, saturate whatever's inside the unprocessed stress pots with lots of gold light. So they start to drain out to the core of the earth. And the stress either totally dissolves or it goes down to the core of the earth, one or the other. So just lots of gold light through your unprocessed stress pots. And once you clean them out, it could be that, they turn to like a clear color, and then maybe they dissolve because you didn't need that stress pot anymore. Or, maybe it just turns to a clear color with little gold and it stays there. Whatever is, whatever your angels need, you to have, that's fine. But obviously you don't want the stress pots full. So the gold light is basically you processing the stress, but in an easy way, without 4 years of therapy. So, although therapy can be useful, don't get me wrong. But anyway, so if you have any more that are healthy and gentle to work on right now, go ahead, imagine them out in front of you, your unprocessed stress pots that are good to work on right now. How many free space do you have in them? Are they all full? Are they half full? What's going on? Give them all red groundings down to the core of the earth, and run lots of gold light through these unprocessed stress pots so that whatever's in them can melt away and or ground down to the core of the earth, so that your stress pot empties out. And then, you could say, angels, help, please adjust my stress pots as needed. And then, you could just hand your stress pots to your angels, because you're probably not supposed to have actual pots in your space. So you could redo your grounding right now, both physical and astral body groundings, and then just check the flow, downward flow in your grounding, see if that's changed at all. Make sure you unblock your groundings. So that was the unprocessed stress pots exercise, where we empty your unprocessed stress pots. Good job. So it'd be interesting to hear what that's like for you, if you did it live and you felt that, or you do it later and you feel it. But even just your survey on how you're doing tomorrow or the next few days could tell me how that exercise worked or not worked for you. Okay, so that was one of the two new things I wanted us to do. So let's see the other new thing that I wanted us to do, which is melting energy blocks that are fused to a bunch of other ones, so they're too big, and so they're not clearing, and it can give you this really like brain freeze kind of a sense. Like you're like, oh my God, I have so much to do, I can't do a thing. Yeah, it's sort of paralyzing. Or you could just feel pissed off, and that's, so you're not really conscious of that you have so much to do or there's so much, but it's just like you feel irritated. Um, so anyway, so it's melting two big blocks because it's really like 7 blocks glued together. So we're melting two big blocks, too big as in TOO big. Melt blocks that are too big because they're like 17 blocks in one. And like I said in the intro, sometimes it's your own resistance that's gluing them all together. Sometimes it's somebody's energy in your space, somebody's courting you, whatever, but it doesn't matter. So at first you can look at, okay, well, how many too big blocks do I have in my space right now? And that could be different than how many are healthy and gentle to clear right now. You could have like 50 too big blocks in your space, but like maybe just work on the first 10 and then see if you're ready for the next 10, but anyway, just it's fun to get an overall sense too, maybe. So then just get an approachable number to work with right now of too big blocks that are stuck in, like, say, one of your aura layers or somewhere, or your grounding. And so it can look like a bunch of books next to each other that are like all glued together. So just imagine, a bunch of those too big blocks and just use a bunch of gold light. And you're melting the glue that's holding them all together. And then generally, if you're pretty present, once you melt the glue, they'll all start to explode. The individual blocks will start to explode. If not, just some extra gold light might help, or just manually blowing up once you've dissolved the glue that's holding them all together. But if you're healing someone else, don't blow up their stuff. Just use gold light. All right, so check how that is for you. Maybe do a quick tricolor soak, which is big red grounding, and then bring the red grounding up. Soak everything in red grounding, red earth energy, I mean. Bring the red grounding down, make it an orange grounding. Use that like an orange straw, bring up orange earth energy, soak everything in orange earth energy all the way up, 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 up. Bring that orange earth energy down, turn it into a yellow grounding. Use it like a straw to bring up yellow earth energy from the core of the earth, up, 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 up. Soak everything in yellow earth energy. You could keep that up and turn it back to orange or red, or keep it at yellow if you want, or you could bring it down to the level of your grounding. But it's totally fine to leave earth energy all the way up if you wish. As long as it's one of those 3 colors, then it's okay for all your chakras. But anyway, so let's do a little more of that. Melting 2 big energy blocks. So that was we did 1 round, and then we did a tricolor soak. So let's do another round. So imagine 2 big energy blocks that are healthy and gentle to clear right now that you're stuck on. And just use gold light to melt the glue that's connecting them together. So again, it could look like a bunch of flat books that are all glued together, and then there's another bunch of flat books that are all glued together, and another bunch that are all glued together. So just melt the glue so that they all start exploding and clearing. And just notice how that feels for you. Just breathe into your whole body. Okay, so that was melting two big blocks. Because the idea is you want to get out of that brain freeze and you want to get to a point where you have enthusiasm and inspiration and there's like this baby step momentum that you have where you do one thing and do the next, 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 and you have a sense of like the next thing that you want to do and you do it, and then you have a sense of the next thing and you do it, and the next thing and you do it, so that baby step momentum, that's what we're trying to get. So I'm going to look at a sample person for a second. So I'll be quiet for a minute as I look. Okay, thank you for waiting. So the next thing we're going to do is updating your agreements with the people in your life. So just to make them good for you now, like to make them as healthy as possible for you as well as for the other people. So for example, like a classic sort of example is a mom. And, a lot of moms and dads, but they put their kids first, and that's not necessarily bad, I mean, technically you should be willing to protect your child at all costs, something like that, or make sure your child is fed at all costs, no matter what, and so that's not really inappropriate, but it can be to an extent that you're so self-sacrificing that, like, even when they're grown up and they can feed themselves, if they wanted to, they could, walk to the fridge on their own, or something. And that you may be putting yourself, you may be kind of holding your breath for your kids to be, as happy as you think they should be. And so you are like not willing to be happy because they're not happy. And kids have different paths than you. Maybe some of them might be depressed for a couple years and you want to help them, but you don't have to hold your breath in the meantime. So that's a more extreme example, but it's real, and there are other examples, maybe your ex-spouse is, not as empowered as you are, and maybe they won't be in this entire lifetime. It's just not their path, they're just growing at a different pace than you are. And so you don't want to be holding your breath for them to be as happy as you would like them to be. You want to be healthy too, and sometimes the agreements are so twisted that you're being self-sacrificing in a subconscious way, but a completely unnecessary way. You're literally like holding your breath and not allowing yourself to be functional just because something's wrong with them. And it just is kind of, you're fixated on it in a way that's self-sacrificing and counterproductive. It doesn't help anybody, right? So let's just update agreements that you have in your life with gold light and maybe some red earth energy and angel help. So that way, anything that needs to be tweaked, the angels will supervise it, and you'll just make sure it's healthy for you and not unnecessarily unhealthy, right? Not unnecessarily self-sacrificing or self-damaging. Okay, so that's explaining updating agreements. Right, so now we will do updating agreements. Okay, and so you can just imagine, and you can do this all at once because you're just healing your own agreements, you're not healing other people. So just imagine agreements that you have with other people. You can imagine them like pieces of paper if you want, or you can imagine them like twigs or rocks or flowers, whatever you want to imagine these agreements as. But just, you can use red earth energy and gold light and just say, angels, help me to update my agreements with the people in my life so that they're as healthy as possible. So that includes agreements that you're not really consciously aware of, like agreements with a neighbor or agreements with a coworker or a former boss or something. So just put all the agreements out in front of you. You don't have to nitpick, how many there are or anything, and just use lots of gold light. And with your intention, you're just updating them all so that they're as healthy as possible. And your angels, ask your angels to help so there's nothing, unsafe or anything about it. All right, good job. So that's updating your agreements with the people in your life. Good job. Woohoo! So now I just have one more thing to do, actually. I think. So that would be the third thing I said that I wanted to repeat from the healing 2 days ago, which is clearing trauma energy blocks. Which is a great way to help you in countless different ways. Can help you with sexuality, with sleep, with mood, with focus, with stress management, with dating, with, focus. I already said focus. But a lot with, stress-related physical issues like maybe hair loss. Some of that's age-related. Can be, some vitamin or supplement you need or something, but some of it can be just stress. So you never know. It's always good to do some extra energy block clearing just in case, right? All right, so we can just do blanket exercise like we did before. Actually, before we did 2 ways. I think we'll do that again. So we'll do blanket exercise, and then we'll do direct healing just on your whole body and your energy system of your spirit as well to clear trauma energy blocks. So first with blanket exercise. So that was explaining. So now the do part comes up. Okay. So blanket exercise, make a big gold blanket out in front of you. Just dump on it any blocks from traumatic experience you've had. Can be one you don't even remember. Can be a whole bunch from past lives. We've all been through terrible things in past lives. All of us. We've all been through wonderful things and we've been through not wonderful things. So just put all the trauma blocks out in front of you that you think may be in your way in life and just say, angels, can you check all these, make sure they're okay to clear right now? That way, if there are too many, your angels will edit for you. Now you can just blow up everything that's on the blanket or melt it with gold light or fire or gold water. Okay, so one more time. Big gold blanket out in front of you, just dump onto it any trauma energy blocks that you have. And a lot of them you won't even know consciously what they are, it doesn't matter. Just pile them on from past lives, from this life, any trauma energy blocks that you have. Just pile them all up and say, angels, is it okay to clear all these? And go ahead and melt them away with gold light. All right, and we'll do it one more time. And just to illustrate, that it can help you with a specific issue that you wanted to improve on, like say you've had some sleep issues or hair loss issues or sexuality, you want to improve your enjoyment of your sexuality or some love life stuff or some work focus. You can make separate blankets for different issues that you have and just see how many trauma blocks are impacting each issue and just put them all out in front of you and just, say, and if that's too many I listed, just, one pet issue that you have that you want to work on and just put all the stress / trauma blocks out in front of you that are impacting that issue. And you don't have to know why, just see the blocks and melt them away with gold light. Imagine them. You say, angels, help me do this. All right, good job, good job, good job. Let's see. You can just comb through everything. Oh yeah, we were going to do it that way too. Just look at, your everything, all your 17 auras, your physical body, your astral body aura, both your groundings, and just check for any trauma energy blocks anywhere that maybe are easier to notice this way. And just say, angels, is it okay to clear them? And just go ahead and use gold light and melt them away. So clearing trauma blocks in this sort of direct way where you just see them in the copy of your energy system and you melt them away with gold light. Let me say, angels, help me do this. Maybe they're extra, shoved in the back of your energy system, so you can look in the back of your chakras, the back of your auras, the back of your groundings for some trauma energy blocks and just melt them down to the core of the earth. And just take a deep breath. Check the overall flow of your physical body. All right, good. So as we wrap up, just say, angels, can you please give me a healing? Maybe do a little stretching. Deep breath. All right, good job. That's a healing. You're amazing. Woo woo. All right. Woo woo. Okay, so I'll do a brief little chit-chat part here. And if you have comments about what this healing was like for you, that could be interesting. You could chat those in the, in the little comment section here. If you have questions about the theme, enthusiasm and inspiration especially, feel free to post that. Comments about something I discussed in this live stream, feel free to post that. And of course, a reminder that you can post under any video at any time, and I'll post a reply when I get a chance. And I did talk last time about even when you post a question to me, make sure that energy of that question, you're handing it to your angels and to your higher self and to your subconscious wisdom. Just so, because you always want to be empowered, you want to grow as fast as possible. And so validating your own wisdom and the limitless support that you have from your angels, that's the real strengthening thing. It's kind of cool that I can answer some questions right now, but that's a temporary thing, for a couple minutes right now. So you want to practice just asking your questions to your angels and to your higher self and to your subconscious mind. Okie doke. Someone says, hello Janet, thank you for your healing today. I'm feeling lots of calm-mindedness when I say or think, angels, here you go, or angels, can you help me take care of that? Anything more I can do? Well, that seems like a good thing. So maybe I'm misunderstanding. Yeah, I'm not understanding what the problem is there. If you're feeling calm when you ask your angels for help, sounds good. So maybe restate your question so I understand what you want me to look at. So it says, hi Janet, and you're saying hello from sunny Arizona. Thank you for your healing of you and your spouse today. It is 90 and sunny in Arizona, in the US, in the southwest of the US. 90 and sunny. Yeah, we're gonna get there in a few days actually. Just meh. Not super excited about that. So it says, hi from Northern Ireland. Hello to you. So it says, hi Janet, how did my son do? Also, what do the angels think of me standing up to Guy in meditation group? What do the angels say I need to do? Work on now. Thank you. And you mentioned your name. Yeah, I wasn't clear. You mentioned in your survey that situation with the guy in the meditation group. I wasn't clear on what you actually physically did. So I don't know if I'm going to hear the angels perfectly about that. But yeah, they don't like it when you have some kind of an awkward or unpleasant interpersonal situation and you don't do anything about it. They prefer that you do something about it. It doesn't have to be like open conflict with that person, but maybe like removing yourself from that situation, changing your seat, stopping the phone call, stopping interacting with a certain person, just make an excuse and walk away. So they do like that you are more solution oriented for yourself and you think of your own needs rather than just sitting there and feeling like, well, like a more passive response. They like that. They don't like open conflict with people. They prefer more like, just remove yourself from the situation when you can. Obviously, if you need to defend yourself, of course, they are in favor of that, but they're also in favor of you just, leaving an unpleasant situation, if it's just getting a different chair or leaving the room or whatever is needed. So they do like you taking action in some way. So I hope that makes sense. Your son did okay. That whole emptying the unprocessed stress pots, you and your son both were partially the inspiration for that. Some other people that I was looking at as well were, not just you guys, but just so you know. So that unprocessed stress pots exercise, that's something that you could consider doing for yourself later. Hopefully it's just simple enough. You imagine the just go through it'll be timestamp link, but it was a quick little exercise that emptied the unprocessed stress pots. It was like a 7-minute little exercise. So you could consider doing that one That would probably be the one that your angels most like for you. And I do feel like that one helped your son more than any of the others exercises that we did. He does follow along, and the healings do help, but not in the level that you think they should ever. It's always just he's in a very delicate place, and so his growth is much smaller than you might want it to be. But he is receiving the healing. It does help. So it says, thank you so much, Janet. Loved clearing the 2 big blocks. Oh, good. I felt the shift there. Good. How am I doing learning what I need to learn at current job? Fine. I think getting that HR stuff out of your space was a big step forward. Quite a big step forward. Looks like I have 3 more checkboxes to go. And wondering what I can do to speed up the process, baby. You didn't say baby. It doesn't really look like that part gets sped up by focusing on it. It's more like some other aspects of your life you could work on, and it may speed up those final work 3 checkboxes, but it seems like it's sort of a like maybe boundaries with your spouse and boundaries with your family members. Just like check that they're not courting your blocks and you're not courting their blocks. Because that's a nice growth accelerant all the time. So I think that would be the thing. That could accelerate a lot. So that helps. So you check, in other words, for people that don't know, you just imagine like you and then all the people that you know and or care about, and just look for cords, lines of light between you and them. And you could even just look at your energy blocks, like look at them like books, and see the lines of light going into the books, and then just melt the lines of light, which are the cords, and melt the books. So you're melting the blocks in your space that people are cording, as well as melting the cords going into them. You don't want to just leave the blocks, right? Because then someone can cord them again real easily. So melt the blocks that people are cording. And then also look at, if you're cording their blocks, don't touch their blocks, just melt your cords. So you're kind of letting go of their blocks. So that helps. And that speeds up your growth and the growth of people that you know, typically. Someone says, hi, Janet. I wasn't in the healing today, but I followed along for the 4 essentials. Feeling good. I get really grouchy and tired when I'm putting my 2 daughters, and you mentioned their initials, which does help, to bed. I'm often ready to fall asleep by 9, but usually one or both of them are up till 9:30 or 10. Suggestions. It looks like they cord your inner wounds, like from about 6 o'clock your time onward. So that can get pretty painful and awkward. So just imagine, and you can do this proactively too, just like with energy blocks. If you melt them away, then they're not there to cord. So just proactively, ideally before 6 p.m., sometime just imagine all your inner wounds that your kids might cord, and then just melt the cords, whether or not they're cording right now, and just melt the cords, and then use gold light and melt the inner wounds that you have that they might cord later on. Also, Kundalini energy, is generated by the Kundalini chakra below the first chakra. It's like a peppy energy. And as an adult, it's nice to have that energy, not just for sexuality, but just at a low level for like motivation and like a little pep, and like enjoying a nice song and, but as a parent, that your kids are copying you. So around like the 2 hours before their bedtime, you turn off your Kundalini because you want them to turn off theirs and you don't want to, inspire them to turn theirs back on. And so you're turning off your Kundalini, but the thing is, sometimes you use your Kundalini as like an assertive, self-assertive energy to be like, I can do it, I can do it. So you're kind of using it as kind of that extra oomph to clear your energy blocks. So what you could do is do like gold sandstorm, an ongoing gold sandstorm. Just let it keep going in your space, like lots of whirring gold light so that it scrubs out energy blocks everywhere. So you still, those 2 hours before their bed, you turn off your Kundalini so they can't copy you. But then you do your gold sandstorm because they're not going to copy that. I mean, and if they do, that's fine. Because then after they're asleep, then you kind of have this little privacy screen that the angels put up between you and them. And then you turn your Kundalini back on if you want to stay up for a while and, do stuff. So then that's fine, but it looks like that absence of Kundalini for those couple hours is like really, you're not clearing enough blocks and, because you've had a long day and it's time for you to, really get going, make sure everything's cleared out because otherwise it's just too much. So yeah, I would say switch to gold sandstorm just for those like 2 hours before their bed. So you're sure you're clearing enough. So hopefully that helps. If it doesn't make sense, you could post a question under the video later. Lost my place. So it says, thanks, Janet. I seem to be at the end of my learning at current job. Yes, it does look like that. Even though I like the project I'm working on, other firm has been trying to recruit me and I'm thinking about going. Wondering if there's another part to that question. Nope. That's it. Yeah, I mean, I guess what you could do is just, the idea is, that's cool. You read something there, right? You read that there's not really any critical learning for you to still do at your current job. It doesn't mean you can't stay for the duration of the project that you're on if you want. It just means like the check boxes are for learning that, you're really meant to do. And so it doesn't mean you have to go now. So then there's that whole thing of, well, when is the ideal time to accept a job offer and to leave? And that's a different reading concept, right? So you could put out, the names of the upcoming months of the year and just see, well, when is it ideal to accept a job offer and when is it ideal to leave? And, is that next year? Is that this year? Which month this year? And just kind of start working your clarity on that level. But it doesn't mean you have to leave if there are no more check boxes. It just means that, if you leave, you won't miss any critical learning that your spirit needs. So I hope that helps. So now you can just read in a different way and look for what's ideal for you, either financially and or spiritually, and just work with your angels on that. So I hope that makes sense. Someone says, thank you for the healing, Janet. How did my daughter, you mentioned her initials, do today? Anything that would be helpful for me to work on to support her growth? Yeah, I was noticing, because you mentioned her in the survey, I was noticing she and a couple people were hitting some past life blocks, not in a bad way though. Sometimes when you get more present, you encounter some energy that has always been there and it's kind of on your spiritual to-do list to clear it. You just haven't done it yet. And so it's not like this, like, oh my gosh, I'm more present. I feel like a million bucks. I just accomplished 3 things. It's, oh, I feel kind of, a little sad, or oh, I feel a little. It shouldn't be anything extreme that you're feeling, but it could be something a little off, and it's just that you're encountering some stuff that doesn't feel great, but is on your to-do list to clear, and it's been there the whole time. You just weren't present enough for it. And that's what it looks like for her. It looks like some past life stuff. I think the unprocessed POTS exercise, unprocessed stress POTS that we did, it looks like that helped her. Because all her stress pots were kind of full. Also your spouse too, same thing. It looks like it helped him too. They're both going to keep working on that with their angels because they need a little bit more of that one, the unprocessed stress pots exercise. As far as anything you can do to continue to help her, I would say I just would encourage like park bench exercise with her. And I think you might find a way to explain park bench exercise to your husband. And if so, that could help between him and your daughter. Because your husband can be very small table communication with her in a way that is like way too much for her. And so sometimes with park bench communication, by the way, there are 2 videos I have on park bench communication for those of you who have never heard it and are like, what the heck is she saying? If you search Janet Wright YouTube park bench communication, you'll find the 2 videos. Basically, it's about communication style, and that some people, either in a certain time in their life or always, they need a more indirect communication style, and it's much more comforting to them, and it's just easier. And so that in less direct style is as if you're sitting on a park bench with the person, and you're both looking at some bunch of trees or a park or a duck pond, and you're both just talking, but in that diluted way where you're also enjoying something else. Nobody is like eyeball to eyeball, right? And so it does look like your daughter needs that. Like throughout her teenage years, she needs park bench communication. There's a lot of past life stuff that she needs from teenage year past lives that she needs to get through, that she didn't get a chance to get through in other lifetimes, and you guys are good parents to hopefully let her do that. And so it's just a nice clean the slate teenage period for her if you guys can give her enough breathing room. And so park bench communication gives her that sense of like, well, we're here for you, we're happy to interact, but it's low key. So I would say, if you need to rewatch those videos or just, but anyway, I was going to say one metaphor that might help. I mean, the park bench, maybe that makes sense for your spouse, but if that doesn't make sense, car rides are a thing that typically, like guys, it's easier for a guy to talk to somebody else when they're in the car, just riding somewhere. And that is literal park bench communication because you're both facing forward, say you're both in the front seats, but you're like just watching the scenery go by, And so maybe that metaphor works better for him, like imagine it like a car ride and you're both in different seats looking out the windows. So hope that helps. I think that would help your daughter. Someone says, thanks, Janet. Are my husband, you mentioned his initials, and I in all chakras? At times, yes. He is in 7 through 2 right now. You are in all your chakras, yes. I'm feeling less irritable and stressed compared to yesterday, yes. You were definitely one of the sample people that your survey helped a lot. You had those 2 big energy blocks. So that exercise where we melted 2 big energy blocks where they're like glued together, and we just ran golden light through this whole series of glued energy blocks, and then they separate and then they blow up. You had a lot of 2 big energy blocks. unprocessed stress pots were not super full, so that did help you, but not like, it wasn't like night and day. But your spouse's unprocessed stress pots were all pretty full. So that helped him a lot. And he is going to work more with his angels on that. Because his unprocessed stress pots were all like, topped up. They had no extra room. So yeah, it's something you could check on, if you want. For yourself, definitely. I think your boss, her unprocessed stress pots are pretty full up too. So you could just maybe explain that telepathically to your boss and say your angels can help you with that, so that she can get help with her unprocessed stress pots. Someone says, thank you. So thank you for your survey. Someone says, thank you so much for the healing. I felt a welcoming shift and feel light. That's nice. I was getting tired, but I started to stretch and I am more awake. Sometimes those stretches, like if you're clearing, if I do like a full body, like I've just like gotten way more present. That's like, I can tell. So that's kind of fun. The like spontaneous stretching, may I please have angel advice on what I need to check out for more when I heal? I didn't see the big walls till this morning when I woke up. Thank you. I'm thinking you mean the 2 big stress blocks, but also the unprocessed stress pots. Those, those were pretty full up for you. So you could work both those. Melting the 2 big energy blocks. They're all glued together, so they're just too giant and they're not clearing. Just melt the glue and then let the blocks explode. Keep doing that. The 2 big blocks, melt the 2 big blocks, and also empty your unprocessed stress pots with like red grounding and red earth energy and gold light. Lots of gold light so they empty. So yeah, those are the 2 things that your angels are highlighting, that you could definitely work a lot more from this healing. Someone says, hi Janet, I'm studying for a smaller scale professional test. Your angels give me a thumbs up on that. I feel tired, been checking for grounding and triggered energy blocks, but feel like I am pushing through hard. What am I missing to read myself? Well, I think the 2 big energy blocks is a big one for you. I think sometimes, it's like you feel motivated, so you're like, oh, I can clear that. And it just, it's like you're banging at something that's not clearing. So I think if you look for the 2 big energy blocks, you have a bunch of those that are just not clearing. So it's not that you did something wrong. It's just sometimes they get too stuck together and they're just not clearing. So 2 big energy blocks could be a nice one to keep clearing for you. When you look at yourself now, you do look like you're in all your chakras. Yesterday you looked like you were in all your chakras. The day before, it looks like most days now you're in all your chakras. When you look at yourself, you're still in all your chakras. So I would be curious to, has your ability to read yourself improved at all consciously? Because it looks like you are, you're not letting your spouse cord you for hours and hours each day. If you do check, I think still checking, a few times a day for spouses between you and your cords between you and your spouse would be helpful. Also first chakra cords between you and your sons, and indie grounding between you and your sons. Just because sometimes they'll start it and they'll cord and they'll kind of jump into your first chakra and your grounding. So just kind of remind them that if they want to be grown-ups, this is how it goes. You know. Um, it seems like you're learning fine for the this exam. Um, I think the Kundalini and first chakra intimidation dumps. I think that's a really good one. I think your mom did a lot of that, and then there's past life stuff too. So you could keep repeating that, the what we did today and also 2 days ago. But today is a nice 3 minute fast version of it. Just get out any dumped energy in front of and in and around your Kundalini chakra and your first chakras. So yeah, the two big blocks, the intimidation dumps around Kundalini and first chakras. As far as the body unblocking and flow, you seem to have a lot of sort of jammed up around your shoulders. Like the energy goes down and it doesn't want to go down your shoulders. Like it goes rent, 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 rent. It doesn't look like hard objects. It's just like in there. It's like some rocks in there. So you could work on melting those. And also like before your sacrum, like a couple vertebrae before your sacrum, it locks up there too. So you could work those two areas just so the energy can go better downward and back down there. Yeah. So a little more lower vertebrae, lower spine unblocking, and around the shoulders and neck, just so it can, the energy isn't so blocked inside there. Right. Someone says, hi Janet, thanks for the healing me and my spouse. How did she do? She is feeling the healing. Thank you again. I'm never sure. Is she conscious of these healings? Like, does she know she's getting them? I'm always curious about that. You can mention it on the survey. How did she do? The stress pot exercise was big for her in a good way. That unprocessed stress pots. That's her angels are so thrilled about that. Also, those intimidation dumps, unblocking around the Kundalini and the first chakra. That's pretty huge too, because her mom does that a lot. Like just shoves a whole bunch of energy in front of her first chakra to get her to obey. Genetic family. So yeah, she did great. She always does pretty well, but those two techniques were particularly big and helpful for her. Someone says, I feel very peaceful. Thank you, Janet. With fused blocks. Yeah, fused blocks. Yeah, two big blocks. Fused blocks. I could literally feel them being disintegrated. Oh, very nice. My path feels a lot smoother. Very nice. Interesting. How did we do today? Meaning you and your mother and your daughter. What would be good to repeat? Your angels say all the highlights from today for you. So the new stuff. Well, the rad blocks, we really love rad blocks for you, which isn't really new, it's new-ish. So as part of chakra repair, we specifically cleared blocks relating to resistance, avoidance, denial, meaning rad blocks. So definitely rad blocks, they're huge on. The intimidation dumps in front of your Kundalini and first chakra, they're big on. Unprocessed stress pots, they're huge on that. And then, of course, like you said, the two big energy blocks. The updating agreements, it wasn't as needed because I think you've done that before quite a bit. So clearing trauma energy blocks too is pretty huge for you. So basically like 5 big things from today: the rad, clearing rad blocks, the intimidation dumps around Kundalini and first chakras, the unprocessed stress pots, emptying those, melting the too big energy blocks, and clearing trauma energy blocks. So yeah, basically repeat the whole healing. But you can just go, find, they're little sections. It's like 7 minutes here, 3 minutes here, 5 minutes here. So it wouldn't take too long if you wanted to use timestamp links. Or then you can just freestyle them because you've memorized it, do it even faster. So it says, thanks, Janet, about job progress. Honestly, I totally don't work on chords as much, so this is the kick in the pants I needed. Well, that's good. Yeah, maybe just reminding yourself that it helps other people. It's like one of the few things you can do to really help speed up other people's growth and progress in your life. That's like super clean, and it also helps you. So maybe that'll, because you really want, like, for example, your mom to evolve, or your husband to evolve, or your dad to evolve, right? And so that helps both of you a lot. Someone says, hi, Janet, could you please elaborate on delicate regarding my son? Is his stress mostly financial, or is it girlfriend? Yeah, you're simplifying things. What do the angels say he needs to be free of current? Yeah, you're okay. He's not very stable. So that's what delicate means. If they're like a house of cards, so a house of cards, it's not stable. So you can't just be like, go for it, do it. If someone's already like a big strong tree, they can, knock something out and break up with a girlfriend or do this or do that. They're ready for it. But if someone's very unstable at their very core, due to traumatic past lives that they're not even done healing from, they pretty much just need, they're healing, but you don't really see much outward results, because they just have so much to get through. So you see one girlfriend that he needs to dump, but there's really like 10 lifetimes of abusive relationships that he needs to clear the past trauma from. And he's working on it, but he's like, 20% through that. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot beneath the surface that you're not taking into account. Different people have different lives and situations. So something that's easy for one person to do is really not easy for another person to do. So that's that. Just is what it is. They grow at their own pace, and they've been through different things. So hope that makes sense. So this is, thanks, Janet, about job progress. I honestly don't check for chords. Oh, I already read that. My spouse is not conscious of the healing, but I think she senses the healing. Thanks again. All right. Well, you guys are amazing. And thank you so much for being awesome and caring about your energy. I think it's really cool. So yeah, so happy spring. I never like it when, like if it's nice out, everyone assumes that everyone should be in the best mood of their entire life. And so it's okay if you're not in a good mood. It's okay if you're not inspired. As long as just try to heal yourself a little bit, do your own baby steps. Just because it's sunny out doesn't mean you're wrong for feeling depressed or something. You're not wrong. But just hopefully some of these things that we did, especially towards the beginning of the healing, are approachable enough and baby step enough that you're like unblocking your grounding, that could help you to step forward in the way that you're ready to do. Okay? So you're amazing. And I'll show Izzy for a second as we wrap up here. This is one of our 2 dogs. There's Izzy right there. Okay, so take care. Bye.